Hey everybody, welcome to Leadership Adventure. I am Marv McCarthy, your host, and you are listening to the podcast this week, and we are on our weekly blog episode. This week I'm drawing from the blog posts that we've had over the last 2 weeks. The first one is from the Alphabet Soup post we had a couple weeks ago, talking about the characteristics of each of the different generations from baby boomers all the way through the upcoming and emerging alpha generation. And last week we talked about the language of purpose, which talks about definitions of terms that we often use in discussing our life assignment, our life calling, or our life purpose. So today I'm sort of fusing those two things together, and our episode is called Purpose Across Generations. So what I'm doing today is combining the two ideas to show how different terms resonate with different generations, and hopefully this will allow all of us to lead and to work better with multi-generational teams and across our broader communities, our other involvements in our life. So I put links below in the description for those two posts if you have not yet had an opportunity to see those. Now first, a clarification. I was realizing last week that I overlooked something in the language of purpose post. Just as significance and legacy are basically two sides of the same coin, also both impact and making a difference are can be viewed the same way. And I neglected to make that distinction last week. So with that as a backdrop, let's get into more of this week. So impact in general tends to be looked at over a longer time period. Making a difference, on the other hand, is usually considered to be more in the short term. So, for example, a leader that builds a successful organization over time is usually said to have had high impact. The flip side of that coin is that someone who participates regularly in a beach cleanup or recycling project, as just off the top of my head examples, often thinks of themselves as making a difference. So the timeline for these two are different, even though they both speak a little bit to the same thing. Now, as with all rules, there are always exceptions, but those are my working definitions for today. So here we go. As a reminder, here are the terms we'll look at again today, same as last week: purpose, impact, making a difference, significance, legacy, life calling or assignment, and mission. And I will tackle them in the same order that I did last week in case you'd like to do a side-by-side comparison. So first up is purpose. All generations, from baby boomers to alphas, respond well to the concept of purpose, but there is a distinct difference in the lens through which purpose is viewed. And I should make a side note here that I'm not dealing extensively with alphas because they haven't yet entered the workforce. So baby boomers and Gen Xers most often view purpose through the lens of typical markers of success. And what I mean by that is position, span of influence or control, and financial accomplishment. Now, millennials and Gen Z most often view purpose through the lens of meaningful work, authenticity, which is something that us boomers and Xers weren't first and foremost concerned with, and also being part of something bigger than themselves. And the traditional markers of success that we just talked about are less important to them. Now on to the word impact. This concept appeals across all generations, but because of its typically longer time horizon, it resonates particularly well with baby boomers and Gen Xers. I'm in that group, and we often seek to build something that endures. Now, making a difference, again, two sides of that coin: impact, making a difference. Making a difference is particularly compelling to millennials and Generation Z. And the reason is that these generations prioritize work that feels meaningful and contributes to a greater good. They also value work tied to their personal values, which comes from a desire for authenticity. And they like seeing the results of their work right now, or certainly within their own lifetime horizon. Now on to the word significance. Significance resonates strongly with baby boomers and Generation X, who are at a stage in their careers where they are thinking more about legacy and long-term contributions. And discussions around lasting change and long-term influence also resonate well with them. Legacy, as we discussed last week, is closely related to significance, and in fact they are pretty much opposite sides of the same coin. As such, it is no surprise that legacy resonates strongly with boomers and Generation X. As a boomer myself, I can validate this, as both sides of this coin take up an increasingly large share of my thinking and my work the older that I get. And just for reference, I'm in my mid-60s. Now, life assignment or calling. While all generations can relate to the concept of life assignment, Millennials and Gen Z respond particularly well to this, since they often seek fulfilling and authentic work which is aligned with their personal values. So common topics or assignments that we hear these two audiences talking about and resonate with are environmental or social issues, justice issues, diversity in the workforce, and things of that nature. Now, mission, again, can be understood by by all generations, but it's particularly effective with Gen X and Boomers, who often value clarity, direction, and concrete goals. So we appreciate the practical and actionable aspect of a mission. We also value structure and seeing the direct results of our efforts. I love a blank whiteboard, and I love creating structure. So to close today, let me leave you with a few final observations and thoughts. For baby boomers and Generation X, emphasize legacy, mission, and significance. Focus on how their current roles and actions contribute to a lasting legacy, and discuss their life calling in the context of a career's culmination and life's work. For millennials and Gen Z, and soon to be alphas, while these generations are often more focused on immediate impact and making a difference, they also have an increasing awareness of the importance of significance, especially in terms of social and environmental legacy. So as such, with these groups, you can highlight purpose, life calling, and making a difference, connect their roles to broader societal and environmental impacts. They'll respond well to that, and frame their life calling as a journey of self-discovery and authentic contribution. So there's one more pattern here that I'd like to point out, and this essentially deals with how the generations can help each other. The older generations, which are the boomers and the Xers, we give importance to a decidedly longer term view. Thus, significance and legacy are of paramount importance. Mission is too, as long as the mission results in something that will last. The younger generations, the millennials and the Zers, have shorter term and more immediate perspective. That is why making a difference in the moment is vitally important to them. Those of us who are boomers and Xers can learn from our younger counterparts the importance of authenticity and doing something both meaningful, true to ourselves, and enjoyable. This might mean breaking away from a boring corporate job where we stick it out only to build a lasting legacy for the future or for our family, and doing something that we actually love that can have impact now but also create something that lasts. Like my dad, for example, had a lifelong career with Allstate Insurance. He never would have thought about changing to do something that he was passionate about, and he loved insurance, but he never would have thought of making that change in order to serve or to be more authentic. That vocabulary just wasn't part of that generation, and it hasn't been as big of a part of my generation as well. Now, conversely then, the millennials and the Zers can learn the value of patience in creating something of value that will not only be useful now, which is back to the making a difference idea, but that also may be important to the alphas and to the generations that come after them. So by working with each other, we can help each other appreciate the shorter term perspective of the millennials and the Zers, and the longer term perspectives of the boomers and the Xers. So I guess in closing, we're kind of back to the alphabet soup idea again, but I think that with the perspective that we've gained over the last few weeks, we can begin spelling words out of the soup other than help. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.